Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 6. Brandon Love here with Tom Moffat and my good buddy, Jeff Mudrick. Jeff, a lot of you know, he is a rock star in the industry and only like 2 years in, he just hit his 2 year anniversary. And one of the things not everyone might know about Jeff is we kind of came up at the start of ILMB before it was Bricks together. And there was this like leaderboard piece, and I remember it tracked like your first 10 deals, and Jeff just shot off like a rocket. And I was like, holy crap, what is that guy doing? And if you listen to last episode, I'm a big believer in collaboration and competition. So I've had the benefit of collaborating with him on some stuff, but also watching him and trying to keep up. Not doing a great job at it, but he's great to pace yourself with. So welcome, Jeff.
Thank you. Thanks. What an introduction. Holy smokes. I'll take that all day. Yeah.
It's good to have you, man.
It's nice to be here. I know, yeah, when I remember coming up together and I think hopefully maybe some of the inspiration to leave your farm was to keep pace.
Yeah.
And I think when you did that, there you go. We're on some rocket fuel heading up.
Yeah, that was a TSN turning point for sure. So, kind of like this past week, I posted on the ILMB page that I had hit my 100 deals and got a lot of responses there. And then you messaged me like, "Hey man, like I just hit my 2 year anniversary and I had a very similar post, so I can't share it anymore." And I was like, "Oh, sorry, dude. Why don't you come on the podcast and touch on a few of those points?" So you're like, "For sure." So great to have those insights come out today.
Yeah, I had like what Brandon said, I had a full, same length post probably, just with like the five or six like biggest things I've learned in 2 years in the industry. And when I told Brandon I can't post, yeah, like you said, it was nice to invite me on here to hopefully share some of those insights and share maybe what I would do differently or things that I would do the same and mindset shifts and all that fun stuff.
Love it. And do you know them off the top of your head, those 5 or 6 points?
Oh
Like, you
yeah.
could dive right into it?
Sure, let's go.
Beauty.
So, Brandon, we've had a conversation around this, so you would have probably heard some of these, but a lot of them are not like super, super specific, but I think they will provide some value and just insight to brokers who are new to the industry, who are or who have been in the industry for a little bit and just need that little like mindset tweak. So the first thing that I have is the idea of like don't chase the rabbit or don't chase the squirrel. So when it comes to lead gen ideas, there are 101 ways to generate leads, and if you try all 100, you are probably not going to succeed at any of them, or not going to succeed in like as well as you can at any of them. So I know people who are in trainings. There's so much training, so many opportunities for mortgage agents to build their business and whatnot. And I know a lot of agents who are in trainings for one quarter and then hop right into the next quarter and the next and the next and have been in training essentially for 2 or 3 years, which is awesome in theory. But like when you're trying to implement what you've just learned, it's near impossible when you've just learned it for 3 months and then right after that you're learning something else that you should be implementing. So when a year ago I took a course from a well-known mortgage agent in the industry who has like 6 lessons, I guess you can call it. I took one of those lessons and essentially like rebuilt my business out of that, and probably missed out on 5 other amazing things, but I had the opportunity to something really clicked with me in one of these lessons, and then yeah, like my book of business has completely changed since taking that course. So that
So
was
you
kind of
were like, early on, you were able to swat away the shiny object syndrome. It sounds like you just dialed in on 1 or 2 things.
yeah, like early on it was luckily I was with a good brokerage who had some great training. As Brandon alluded to, ILMB Mortgage Pros was the first name of that. A bit of a tongue teaser, but anyways,
Yeah.
now Bricks, and their focus was solely on realtors and doing what's called like the four slide, and that was it. So all I did was that for the first like year in the business, and had a great year. And in doing this course with somebody else, so that was like the only thing I did. Signed up for 10 Loans a Month Academy. They had a great course, and the person that I did my training with was like, what the heck are you doing where 100% of your deals are coming from realtors? Why are you doing that? I'm like, well, low hanging fruit, um, easy to connect with. I found that there was like most realtors I spoke with were unhappy with their current mortgage broker, whether it was communication or just deals that like weren't going smoothly. So I found a nice opportunity and able to kind of swoop in with some of those realtors. The challenging part with realtors is the fact that it's a lot of pre-approvals. It's a lot of, hey, like going to go see some properties and the deal might close in a month, 3 months, 6 months, or I'm still connecting with clients who I first initially had a conversation with a year and a half ago. So longer turnaround time.
So is that why you made that transition to the second point?
Yeah, I think so. So then I got an opportunity, yeah, to take the training, and the person was like, "Why are you doing all realtors? You should look at FAs and financial advisors and lawyers." And I was like, "How do you get business from them? Like, what does that look like?" Anyways, we kind of chatted around some opportunities, and since then, well, the first like 3 months of this year, the script completely flipped, where I was at like 75% of my business was coming from FAs and lawyers, and about 25% were from realtors when they were slow.
Yeah, and that's a really nice piece because it's not like the realtor business disappears. Like it's going to come back with a vengeance at some point. And I'm sure spring market you probably got hit and we're like, holy crap, what have I done? I've got both layered, but also you're learning to thrive in that environment. And now you have a whole other layer built on. But I think a big piece there is like you didn't try to build both those layers simultaneously. You built one to the point where it was like a rock solid foundation. And then you added the next layer where you swatted away the next 5 ideas that guy had and said, okay, FAs, lawyers are piece two. And I'm sure you could go back and talk to him and be like, hey, I missed your other 5 lessons. Can you share some insights on it? And take the next year and build up on there. And your business only going to scale and grow from that.
Oh, 100%. Like I remember I listened to the 12-hour broker podcast, and I was like, like there's so many amazing business opportunities or marketing strategies that people can take.
Oh yeah.
If
You can
people
take one
one
episode
of
and just expand on it.
100%. I told Ryan that as well. I was like, if somebody takes one of your podcast episodes, if it's a good one, which they all are, Ryan, you could build a really successful business based off of one of
Oh yeah,
those. And
easy.
really just hammer it home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
I think
doubt.
the challenge is that people take 1/10 of an episode, try it for 2 weeks, park it, try the next thing, and you never, like, dig deep enough to hit oil, or it's like that thing of the guy digging for a gem, and, like, he's 1 hit away from it, but he never hits it. It goes to the next spot, so on and so forth, so
It's like with honestly anything. So if you're posting on social media and you don't get traction and you stop, well, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
If you reach out to realtors and 9 of them say no, maybe that 10th is probably gonna, whatever. As long as you're being consistent, which Brandon, I like on your post, that was like the biggest message I have for people too, is whatever you're doing in pretty much any area of life is what I've learned over the past couple of years. If you are consistent, even if you're consistently doing something like wrong, if you're consistent, it will eventually work itself out.
yeah.
Like my like something that I've taken time to do. So another point in this in this list I have is like there's more to life than mortgages. So the first year in the business, I literally worked like 10 hours a day for 7 days a week in this orange office. I did not move. I'm a huge fan of like the Leafs and sports and socializing with friends, and I did none of that for a year. And it was, I get, like, if I were to do it again, would I do that? No, I would spend time in other areas of my life. Um, but learning lessons now that like just being consistent works. So I'm doing a lot of like training right now, like triathlon training, and I'm not a good runner. But if I run consistently, guess what? My running improves. And it's the same
Mhm.
with mortgages. If you're making phone calls and they're not going well, they will eventually go well. So that's like a point number two, is there's just more to life than mortgages.
Exactly, and I remember you saying at one point that you were, like, living in your office, and for those of you who don't know you have a young daughter as well. All 3 of us have young kids, and we're like, hey, kinda what is the point where it's too much that you're missing too much of that bigger piece obviously matters more in life. And I think this year, I know when I was chatting with you earlier this week, I'm like, man, you look like you're having a lot more fun. Like I can see you're on vacation with your wife and daughter. Like you guys are going to Toronto Island. Like you're doing a lot more stuff where before, you weren't doing it because you're in that office all the time.
100%, yeah. So it's made like that work-life balance a real thing. I remember maybe you two had the same mindset where when I left the healthcare industry, I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm self-employed. I can work whenever I want. Let's go." And then I got into the industry. I'm like, I am working literally 2 times as much as I did for a
Yeah.
year. Like, what the
Yeah,
heck
you,
is
you
going on?
replaced your job with a job.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then you got your time back. And when you got your time back, did anything like volume wise, production wise, did anything drop? Are you still the same? Are you higher?
I would say I'm higher than like this year is going to be a better year than last year, not by much. Like I'm just over where it was a year ago, but the time in this office has dropped probably by 50%. So
Love it.
efficiency wise, I'm like through the roof with a lot of room for improvement.
Mhm.
Okay.
But quality time with family and friends is like more important to me than you know than the mortgage world and sitting in this office.
Yeah.
Would you say that's mostly credit to transitioning from realtors to FAs, or is it a mix of that? And did you onboard an employee of fulfillment or anything?
I did, yeah. So definitely one mistake or one thing I wish I did earlier was hire somebody to support the business. It was just me until about a few months ago when my wife left her cushy government job to come and hang out uh, and talk a lot more mortgages with me. So she's running the fulfillment side. So essentially, as soon as I get the commitment from a client, she takes the file and completely runs with it.
Love it.
She's ordering appraisals. She's making sure lender receives docs. She's doing all the broker complete stuff, which has been an absolute game changer. So that has reduced a ton of my time to allow me to go and prospect a bit more, go and nurture the relationships that I already had. Like going out for lunches with lenders and with realtors who I've never met before has been it's been nice.
That's
It's such a
awesome.
funny thing, once you do that and you're like before I used to be like, "Okay, well, what's the value of going to play in a golf tournament with a lender?" Like, that is just a waste of a day, and then I went and did it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that was such a high return activity." Now, like, my call gets picked up even
Yeah.
faster, a lot of exceptions, like, all these things that, like, stem out of the relationship side of the business more, whereas, like, early on, you're so focused on the deal and, like, that is everything, but there's all this stuff around it that is business at large in general that once you can focus on it, it really starts to scale.
100%. And like something that I found to be really cool was when I started meeting these realtors, or I sent a video out to all my realtor partners to say, "Hey, round of golf on me. Like whenever you want,
I like
it's on
that.
you." Yeah, it was like the most. I send like a video every week. It's by far, I did it 2 years in a row, by far the most responsive, like the email that gets the most responses every year. So when I went to go meet these realtors, who I don't even know what some of them look like if they don't have it in their email signature, I have no idea what they look like. Which not great, but anyways, when I went to meet them, they're like, "Hey Jeff, how are you?" I'm like, "Oh, like how do you know me? Like what's going on?" Like, "Oh, I," and I asked some of them, I'm like, "What's going on here?" And they said, "Your videos. Like I know who you are because
Yeah.
they get CC'd on every budget video that I do, every Friday video. They see my face." And it feels to me that they know me, which is interesting, and I feel like I'm pretty in the dark with that. But what's come from a lot of these times going out and meeting these realtors face to face or going out for a beer or whatever it is I'm not getting those like crappy leads, or I'm actually getting phone calls from realtors being like, "Hey, I had a realtor call and say, 'Hey, I'm not sending you every lead, but here's why.'" I'm like, "You don't have to send me every lead." But it was essentially because they're like, "We don't want to waste your time. We don't want to blah 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 blah." I'm like, "I'll take that all day.
Yeah.
I like
And
it."
That was
You
her
had-
mindset, eh? She didn't want to waste your time with the leads.
So that was another. It was another like interesting shift. One is like, yeah, I don't want those crap. I don't want those leads that you don't feel like will turn into anything. But I also do want them, if that makes sense. Like, I want you to send me it all and let me decide where that lead
Yeah,
goes.
be the
That is
gatekeeper.
a conversation we've had. But another big reason why I decided to hire somebody besides like time in office is because I was getting a lot of clients reaching out to say, "Hey, I know you're so busy, but blah 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 blah," or "Hey, I have a friend. Do you have time to chat with them?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do. Like, what are you talking about? I'm not too busy to like have a conversation with you." And I guess I was probably like maybe I was giving off that vibe, or maybe the emails were just taking a bit longer to get back to. And I was like, this is not right. Like, I don't like this. I don't like how I'm servicing clients if they, or even realtors, if they feel that I'm so busy. I don't want that.
No.
So that definitely helped me to say, "Hey, Em," or "Hey, like my wife, do you want to come on board now to allow me time to do more, do better for my clients?"
Yeah, I like that. So it's like, okay, we're gonna bring you on. We're gonna do the exact same thing, but we're gonna do every step that much better, and that's your role in the business. And I think that's a great way to do it. Another piece I think that was on your list and probably contributed to this time that you've gotten back was saying no to a lot of files. So
Yeah.
I think that is something everyone's scared of at the start, unless you're like some super mindset person. I think it's a big piece. You're like, I don't want to say no because is this opportunity going to come up? Am I going to offend this realtor partner or FA by saying no to this? So how did you get your head around that?
That's 100%. That was my mindset too. Even still, to some degree, I'm like, saying no. Like, it's not about the client really. It's more so about that relationship with whoever referred them my way. So I shifted my mindset from two things. One, like, I am probably not the best person to serve this client. So when I tell myself that, it's easy to tell the realtor that, or it's easy to tell the client that, "Hey, there's somebody else that I think would be better suited for you. Let me make an introduction. Hey, your bank will definitely help you out here. I would suggest going there since you already blah 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 blah." Like, I have a client literally right now, or on Tuesday, they reached a couple days ago. They reached out to say, "Hey, I want to open up like a line of credit to bridge whatever it is." And I checked all their mortgage stuff is with Scotia. They have like 3 rental properties, a farm, blah 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 blah. I'm like, "Go to Scotia. They will open that up for you, no problem."
Mhm.
Um, and they appreciate it. Like, the amount of reviews I've gotten, or the amount of positive feedback I've received from saying no to a client in a respectful way, they appreciate it as much as anyone, because they're not wasting their time filling out an application or sending you all the stuff that you probably can't do stuff with anyways. So it was powerful. And the last part about saying no is, or a huge part for me, is just saving time. Like, if something's a time suck and I know it's going to be a time suck, it's not worth a $5,000, $10,000, 15, $20,000 paycheck. It's honestly not. I'd rather do 4 other deals that are with clients who are my avatar than to spend one than to work on one deal that's causing me all the stress, anxiety, and time. So that was a shift for me.
Yeah, and
And
I
how
think
does that
that's
conversation go with, the referral partner in that situation?
Yeah, so if depending on the relationship, if it's a referral partner as like a family member, it's a little different. But if it's just like a random lead that they have, conversation's pretty simple. Hey, realtor, hey, FA, thank you so much for the referral. I truly appreciate it. I had a quick conversation with the client, and my biggest strengths are in these areas. So and I say this to everyone, my biggest strengths are first time home buyers, people buying their first investment property, or people who are self-employed. Kind of encapsulates everyone without saying everyone. um, and this person I think is best suited over here. So what I'm going to do with your permission is send you an email introduction, or email you and the client an introduction to this person, and they will definitely be able to suit to better service you and ensure that you get the best mortgage possible. Or, hey, this client, thank you so much for the referral. Really appreciate it. I've advised the client that it's in their best interest to actually walk into the bank. I don't get paid from that, but it honestly is in the best interest of the client, and it will make their experience and yours a lot easier. So just
Love it.
what's in it for them.
yeah, that's a
Exactly.
huge piece. I think like just reframing it to the point of, hey, this isn't in my interest, it's in the client's interest, and this is why. And then a big piece there is touching on these are my core areas I focus on and just reminding them this is the kind of leads to send me more of. Like
It's that.
I'm the man at this.
It's honestly like that is the reason why is to say remind them, and oftentimes they'll say, "Oh yeah, I have this client who's actually self-employed, like, whatever. I have this client who's this. Like, do you mind giving them a shout?" I'm like, "Sure." So you're losing a lead, and you're going to gain one more often than not.
And do you actually like self-employed clients? Because from the sounds of things, you're not keen on business bank statement underwriting.
It depends on what they're looking after. Yeah, again, I am absolutely, I'll happily say it. I am not the best underwriter in the world at all. I lean on colleagues, I lean on people to help me with that. So if there's business bank statements, not fun. If they are self-employed and pay themselves in dividends or T for themselves, great, no problem.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
no issues there.
Or just go to
Uh,
that fun BFS program with one of our favorite lenders, and there you
yeah,
go.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. I
So
think
if I've got this down correctly, we've got stick to one to two things to go deep on. That's the first point.
yeah.
Second point, have a life. It's not all about mortgages. Enjoy yourself. Hire early. Is that another point that we just covered?
100%, 100% hire early.
And then be able to say no to files.
Yeah, and I got a few more for you.
You
Okay.
let's do it.
Oh, another one is your brokerage, and then you can kind of sub out brokerage for a number of things, but your brokerage doesn't matter. And what I mean by that is your brokerage or your CRM or your website or whatever else, it doesn't matter. What matters is you working in the industry. So you can be with the absolute best brokerage in the entire world and still not fund as many mortgages as you want, or as, whatever. You can be with the worst brokerage in the world, and you can succeed and do very well. It's definitely for a new broker. Obviously, it helps to be with a brokerage that provides actual tangible training besides the old just tell everyone you're a mortgage broker. Um,
Classic.
the classic one, exactly. So there's advantages to being with certain brokerages, but it doesn't really matter. Like I've run I'm happy. Look, I've run as I'm six. I view myself as a successful mortgage broker, and I run it all off of a Google Sheets spreadsheet. That's it.
Mhm.
I think we have the same one
Yeah,
from
probably.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
So
sure we do.
like
From you know who that built it up for us, right?
I don't use that. No,
No?
I don't even use that. There's no
Oh,
automation. There's nothing. It is
oh,
just,
it's super old school.
it is, when I started, I tracked client names, first names only. It's so silly. Closing date, purchase price, and mortgage amount, and the interest rate.
Love it.
That's how
Oh,
I
I
track
love it. That's
mortgages.
so good.
And
But
it's
you didn't waste any time on it.
wait. There is some time wasted because it is now color coordinated for
Ooh,
closed deals, live
getting
deals,
fancy.
waiting on compliance. Yeah,
But was that you or was that M coming in
that
and
was that was them. That was not
yeah,
me.
that's what I was gonna say. That's not you.
Yeah, so it's all like, and for sure there's an opportunity to become a lot more efficient and to build out that system and process, and there's definitely is, but I'm focusing my time on things that are going to generate me business today, and like focus on the money making activities, which has been like my mindset since day one.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
you made a good point. Like it doesn't matter on the brokerage all that much in terms of your production. Like if you're coming into the industry, if that person is bound to be successful, they'll find like even if they're at a brokerage that doesn't provide any training, if that person even just did a quick Google search, podcast search, like you're gonna find training resources out there that you can join and be part of. So yeah, in my opinion, there is no excuse. Like if you have the drive, you'll find the resources out there.
Yeah, like so. For example, I had a lot of people reach out. I was on the ILMB podcast, and I had a lot of people reach out like, "What's the secret of the four slide? What is this mysterious four slide?" Like, I'm sure maybe you get that as well. And the secret is literally scripting and providing some sort of value
Yes.
that a realtor can like tangibly look at or hear and say, "Oh, that is value."
Mhm.
It's just all about communication. That's what this whole
Yeah.
industry is. So yeah, I would say point number 4 or 5 or whatever number we're at is your brokerage slash CRM slash website slash things that don't make you money don't matter.
Yeah, and I think that's a big one that a lot of people jump brokerage to brokerage. It's like, okay, I'm going to date everyone before I decide who I'm going to marry. And it's like, well, it doesn't really make a difference if you're putting in the activities, or you have the bigger pieces, the mindset. Like, the brokerages that say they're feeding you leads are a myth. We all know that. But like, if you're not doing the steps, or you don't have the mindset for the business to go out and get it, that's going to be your biggest input, whatever the word is there, impetus. It sounds weird. That's going to be your biggest flaw. So
100%. And the other thing too is that not everyone's meant for the sales side of the business, and
Yeah.
that's okay. You can join the business, you can join the industry and find that this, like, I think we're all are in agreement, is that this industry it's pure sales. It is it's a service slash sales industry, and maybe people get into it for another reason, and that's totally okay. Like, if you love the underwriting piece, fantastic. There are so many jobs and opportunities for you in the mortgage space. But if you want to if you want to be self-employed and run a successful business, you need that mindset of it is sales, and I gotta hustle, gotta script, gotta work, and put in the time.
100%.
So another one I have is it's kind of on the line of like excuses, but like, rates are not your problem. Like, if you're not succeeding in today's market, it's not because of interest rates. I'm very firm and confident on that. And there are so many ways to generate business, whether you're targeting purchases, renewals, refinances, whatever it is. Doesn't matter what the interest rates are. People will be buying, people will be selling, people will be renewing, people will want to pull out equity. So it's just about figuring out who your target clients are and how to get in front of these people to sell your services to them. So, I see a lot on a lot of different websites or Facebook groups and stuff is that, business is down. Business is down. Like, what does that mean? Is that your personal production is down? Is that anyone goes on Instagram and you see realtors posting that year over year sales are down or up or whatever? It doesn't matter. Like, my viewpoint of that is that it's an excuse.
Yeah.
And yeah,
It
I
probably fires you up more seeing that.
exactly.
Yeah.
I
I
love
said,
it.
no, if
I
you
absolutely love it because
Yeah.
I'm like, great, more free business for me.
Wait for the next year when things come down, then there's technically more business, right? Because it's like, if I'm succeeding more in a down market, I can only imagine what the next 2 years look like.
Or the other piece is, if it's slow and you have this down market, like, use that extra time now, ramp up your prospecting.
Yeah,
That's going to
exactly.
compound 3 to 6 months out, and then you'll no longer be slow. So I think that anyone who's like, oh, I'm just sitting here kind of bored because rates are down, I was so busy last year. It's like, you're just not doing things you like doing anymore. So accept that it sucks to do some of these other steps, but you have to do it in order to grow.
Yeah, like, I think, like, Tom, you mentioned, like, that stuff does fire. It definitely fires me up. Like, if someone, it's a mindset thing too. I'm a super competitive person. So if someone is doing really well, I want to get there. If someone's complaining about where the market's at, I'm like, see you later.
Yeah,
Like,
just block that out.
Yeah,
gone. Yeah, I don't like, a big thing my first year that I had written down was like, very helpful for me, is to stay with like-minded people, because there's a ton of negativity in the industry, and if you can easily be sucked into that. So if you're staying away from the drama, or staying away from people who are, I guess, like, complaining, you're gonna do better.
for sure. It's like any office space, right? If you get in the water cooler talk with the person who hates the boss, hates the environment, hates the color of the walls, you're going to be miserable there. But if you surround yourself and people who are like, oh, this is actually kind of fun, or like, this was hard, but I feel good about doing it, it
Yeah.
just changes your whole perspective of your day.
Even, like, I know we're kind of running long on this point, but even things like, oh, this lender is not getting back to me, like, then do something about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you run your own business. If they're not getting back to you, like, what's I know there are certain situations where it is a pain, but at the same time, do you have a relationship with the underwriter? If the answer is no and they're not getting back to you, do something about it. Get a relationship with that. Send them a Loom video to say, hey, I'm Jeff. Like, I know I've sent you a lot of deals, we've worked together, but here's like, I'm actually a person in this orange office, and I'm so excited to send deals to you because of whatever. Like, it's just like simple things like that build
Yeah.
relationships and get you those answers, and you know get
And the
you away
last
from excuse
I
train.
100%. That's gold. Like sending a loom to the lenders. Like people don't think of that. I know there's some that don't accept. They can't open the links like with their systems. But for the most part, like most will accept a loom video and they love it. So no, I love that piece. And to your point, like people complaining on ILMB page, like that's the last thing you want to do because lenders are on there. Don't complain about lenders on there. Just don't do it and don't name them.
Not,
Don't name them.
not.
Use
So
color.
anyway, I have
Use color.
I have two more that are helping me this year. So one is to know your clients. So who are your clients? Are your clients the people who are getting mortgages? Are your clients realtors? Are they FAs? Are they lawyers? Are they, your community? Like, who are they? And whoever they are, once you determine that, you service the heck out of those clients. Like for me, for example, my clients are realtors and FAs. They were lawyers for a while. Now it's kind of fading off a little bit, but they are my clients. They are feeding my family. So when they send me something I want, or like when an FA sends me clients T4s and all that stuff, it's a nice feeling to get that, and they get some flowers sent their way. Or if I feel like a deal's going a little tiny bit sideways, and even if the realtor doesn't feel it, it's just different from my norm because I've been enjoying my summer. They get a nice box of chocolates sent their way, or they get a Amazon gift card, whatever it is, just something different. My clients, like the people who are getting mortgages, are definitely part of my clients, but in my mind, my clients are my referral sources all day long.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Like, obviously, a big part of servicing your referral sources is servicing those clients, but the deep conversations and all that stuff, you're going deep with the realtor FA versus the individual client itself.
And it's the mindset of like, I want to target like one person to get many clients. So targeting one realtor to get their book of business, or targeting two realtors in the same office to get that whole office, or just, something like that. Which has been nice over the past 2 years. So just kind of honing in on who your client is has been helpful.
For sure. And the final point, Jeff, what is it?
Well, I should have kept this one in the middle because it's not as exciting. Just the sense that like business never stops in terms of like building your business. There's never there's never an email template that is going to be your email template for the next year or 2 years. There's never going to be a way that you get introduced to a client that's, everything's always evolving. So if you feel like you have something perfected, I guarantee you talk to Brandon or Tom, they'll come into your business and say, well, what about this? Try adding this in there. So so the whole point of that is to be with like-minded people, trust in this collaboration and competition mindset where, I know we all went to Kelowna to do the, forget the name of it.
Mastermind.
The mastermind. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that, it was a great opportunity to see what other people are doing and how I can implement that into my business. So if you feel like your business is complete and you're super happy with it, if you're happy with your, 10, 20, $30 million volume each year, great. But if you want to grow, the business needs to adapt and grow in this environment as well.
For sure. I love that. Like, we just so we did the mastermind in January, and then Tom and I booked this like farm Airbnb last week or week before, forgetting now. And we like went through everything, client journey, everything. We picked it apart again. And it was like, oh yeah, like this is actually so much better now. And I'm sure we could do it the same thing
Oh
in
yeah.
December and add another layer on there. So
That's awesome. You guys did your own mastermind. That's
yeah,
incredible.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was awesome.
Yeah, a couple bottles of wine and some mortgage talk.
Yeah.
few too many beers. And yeah.
Hot tub, got all cute in the hot tub with some cigars.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, no, honestly though, like that is my dream. Like when we went to Kelowna, it was an opportunity to work on mortgages for 3 or 4 days 12 hours or 15, however long, without being judged by like family or friends of like not coming out
You
with
talk about it all day long.
Yeah.
yeah, it was so
Yeah,
nice. Learned
yeah,
a ton and like tried to do our best to implement whatever we learned.
For sure.
Uh,
That was a big thing too from that event though, is to take all that stuff and actually put it into practice. I feel like I have that list of like 10 other things I could still implement that I haven't yet.
yeah.
But even just the one or two I put in have dramatically changed my business.
Yeah, no, this industry, I remember talking to like Ryan, Brandon, like Ryan was super helpful early on in our careers. And um, he said something that always stuck with me. It was the best part about this industry is if you want an in-ground pool, you can go work for this long and you will get the money to get that pool. There's an unlimited amount of funds out there, an unlimited amount of, your income's not capped. And if you put in time, if you get X number of referral sources, your business is going to increase by this amount. Which has just been like a mindset that I've had. I've, tried to, really live that mindset for the last 2 years.
For sure. And it shows, man. So congratulations on an amazing first 2 years. I'm looking forward to continuing to be your friend onwards, unless you dump me, and seeing years 4, 6, 8, and 10, and just watching how far you can scale this thing.
Love it. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks so much.